Again for another video. This is going to be a good one, guys. Today we're going to do some of those dinosaur beef ribs and chicken wings. Two of my favorites. It is just before the holiday on Monday for Memorial Day. Finally get a little chance to relax a little bit. I'm off, catching up on some work at the house, as well as trying to get some things done on the barbecue front. So gonna do some beef ribs and some chicken wings. We got plenty of both. Got a slab of beef ribs. Got them from the local store here called the Butcher Store. So we're gonna try these guys out and see how they do. Usually when you get beef ribs out of a grocery store, they're kind of thin or they're individually sliced. I'm just not a big fan of that. I love the dinosaur bones. Sorry. And especially when you cut them into them, get you a good smoke ring on them, get them good and tender, and we plan on doing all of that. So right now, guys, just doing the prep, getting the Oklahoma Joe ready. Took the top rack out that I made. I'm gonna just use this bottom rack, and once I get these coals up to temp here, we'll get them going, slide them over into that firebox, throw a little wood in there, get that going, and then we'll start smoking this thing. Meanwhile, on the inside, we'll start doing the prep on the ribs. I already got the wings out, cleaned and prepped. Just got to season them up and do the other things we're going to do with the butter in the pan. That's another one of those secrets, guys. I'm telling you, if you ever put just a little bit of butter in the bottom of that pan while you're cooking your wings, and then taking them out once they're done to put them on the grill to let them firm up a little bit, if that's how you like them, I'm telling you, you'll never go back. So we're going to let this thing continue to meld out here and get ready. It's gonna take a little while to just put those coals in the chimney to let them get going. And as soon as we get that going, get the meat prepped up, we'll get it started. Looking forward to it, guys. See you shortly. All right, guys, back here on the inside. I want to show you what we're gonna be cooking today. Got me, excuse me, a couple of pounds of chicken wings have already been cleaned up. Get a great deal on those. I actually got one of my uncles who lives in the Atlanta area that catches those wings on sale at a market where they sell them at a really good price. So I'm able to stockpile me some wings. I do love me some good wings. As you can see from these two guys, these aren't those big, large, huge wings. I'm not a big fan of those. So these are average eating size wings, what you get at most restaurants, the American Deli, those kinds of places. That's what I like. Also here I got some butter. This is salted butter that I just melted down. And when I make my wings, guys, I always put a line of butter in the bottom of the pan, what we're gonna have here. And just to coat it, mix the wings up in it, hit it with a very light seasoning to start with. And as the wings start to cook down, you can mix them in. And then once they get close to being done, you can take them off, drain the butter out of it, season them real good, either put them directly on the rack or put them back in the pan with no butter and let them finish up. And I'm telling you guys, you'll have some of the best wings that you ever had in your life if you do that. Very tender, fall off the bone if that's what you like. Every time they're that way. Also, guys, I want to bring your attention here. This is where the pride of joy is going to be here. This is a slab of, it's 4 bones on this one actually. 4 bones, beef rib. Very little fat on the top side of this thing, so I think I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to trim any of that off of it. When I take it out of the vacuum pack, I'm going to just pull that membrane off the back is what I plan on doing, and then season it. So for the seasoning, I'm just going to use salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. Those are the only things I'm going to put on it. I'm probably going to put a little heavier accent of the pepper on it just to kind of help build that crust on it. So very excited about this, guys. This thing was not cheap. They're like $16 or so a pound for some good beef ribs. But, you know, compared to what you get, you know, as far as the meat that's on these things, I mean, you can see here, that's quite a bit of meat. That's not bone, what you're looking at there. The bone is on the back side of this thing. It is thick and filled with meat on both sides of it. So, well, excuse me, on the meat side of it. So we're gonna tear this thing out of the package. I'll come back when I get everything seasoned up and ready to go so you guys can see it. So you'll see what it looks like before it gets ready to go out into the smoker. But that's it. Also, guys, we're gonna make some of, I had one of my somebody who commented on one of the things that I did about some coleslaw. Guys, I'm gonna give you a little hint on this coleslaw. This coleslaw is so good. I'm an older guy, 51, 52, and you know, I remember back in the days where KFC used to have some really good coleslaw. Excuse me, guys, getting a little drainage. I apologize for that. But I remember when KFC had some really good coleslaw. This mimics this. I'm going to show you all the ingredients, show you how I make it, and so that you can, try to give you a hand at that as well. Everywhere I go with this coleslaw, it is a crowd pleaser. Trust me on that. All right, so we're going to get this thing together, get everything put in the pans, get it prepped up, ready to go, mix all of our ingredients together, get it out onto the smoker, and while we're doing that, we'll come back and then try to get that coleslaw ready. All right, see you guys here shortly. All right, guys, got the beef ribs all seasoned up. You can see here, and again, that's kosher salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. So we got it coated up pretty good. Might have to hit these sides here just a little bit more, but we coated up pretty good, ready to go. And you can see the wings, same way. Got them seasoned up, and I got a little butter in the bottom of the pan. So once this thing starts to heat up, I actually put a little butter in the bottom of this pan as well. But what I plan to do with these ribs is probably a good hour, hour and a half into it. We're going to start spritzing them probably every 30, 45 minutes from that point to make sure they stay moist. And I'm going to just spritz them with apple cider vinegar. And until we get to around 160, 170, then we'll take them. I'm going to wrap them in some butcher paper and finish them off until around 205 or until they're tender. And make sure you hear me good on that one, guys. I was used to be very heavy on going straight to certain temperatures, but I quickly learned that every piece of meat is different. Some of them may be 203, some may be 205, some may be 210. So we'll see when this one is tender, and that's when we'll pull it, let it rest, and then slice into it to see what we got. Same thing with the wings. We'll let these wings go for a good hour or so. Not going to spritz those. Anything may add a little bit more butter to it and mix them along the way so that we can get them all cooked and try to get them cooked evenly. And as we continue through the process, we'll pull those, probably put them back on the grates to let them stiffen up just a little bit, and season them up again one final time, and then get them out. Then, guys, we'll move on to the coleslaw. Again, I told you this is going to be some delicious coleslaw here, something that you never had before. I promise you, you're going to love this stuff. So we'll go outside, make sure we got everything set up. The coals should be good and hot now. We'll transfer those over, let the add some wood to it, let that kind of settle down, and then we'll get the meat out and get it going. All right, guys, so we got them out here on the smoker. It's approximately 1:35 p.m. where I am now. So we'll let them go a good hour, hour and a half. So probably a good hour. We'll come back out about 2:35 and kind of check to see the progress. Going to be smoking around 250, 275, somewhere in that range. But you can see both of them turned out great. So we're going to see, check back in here, let it get this lid down, get everything locked down, button in, and we'll check back here shortly. All right, guys, it has been about an hour or so, and came out here to kind of check to see how things are going. The temperature rose on me a little bit. I added one log of wood too much. We're bumping around 300 degrees instead of 275, but everything is looking really good. You see those wings are starting to get ready. You see that butter at the bottom, just a little bit I added was bubbling. It's actually starting to brown some of them in there, which is really good. It's kind of what I want. So we're gonna let those continue on. For the beef ribs, you can see it's looking like a brisket, and that's kind of how we're gonna treat this thing. We're gonna let it continue to cook. I just hit it here with a little apple cider vinegar. We're going to continue to try to keep that moist, and it's looking good, guys. Everything's coming along just like it should. So we're going to mix these wings up a little bit here. See the fire still rolling down there, looking good. So we're going to continue to let this thing roll, and it's looking good. All right, we'll check back about another hour or so and kind of see how we're looking. All right, guys. The wings are done. You can see here, start transferring them to a pan here. Just pulled them out of the butter that I had them in and transferred them to the rack. and from the rack. Let them kind of stiffen up a little bit, get a little bit extra color to them, and then over to the pan. So get ready to scoop them out. You can see here, guys, the beef ribs are doing great. Hit them again with a little spritz here. Keep them going. Keep that moist. I'm actually going to move that over some once I get these wings off. It'll help that cook a little quicker. But we're going to keep an eye on it. Go ahead and remove these wings and get that out of the way. We'll be working on that coleslaw here shortly. All right, guys, let's talk about this coleslaw I've been telling you about. Like I was telling you guys at the top of the video, you know, when I was a kid, man, KFC coleslaw was the best. And I actually found this recipe online and kind of twerked it some to make it work a little bit better for me and my taste. And I want you to do the same. The ingredient list that I'm going to show you guys is how I make it. And mine is I like a little bit more juice in my slaw than some people may like. If you like yours kind of dry like a salad, you may not want to, you may want to back down on some of the ingredients. When I first made it from the recipe I had, it was too dry for me. So I just couldn't stand it that way. But when I added just a little bit more of everything, I'm telling you guys that really made a huge difference to me in the taste of it. And everybody who tries this stuff always, it's the first thing, if I don't mention KFC, that's the first thing they say. If it's somebody who's been around long enough to remember how that is, that's the first thing they say is, man, this tastes just like how KFC used to taste back in the days. So I got a lot of my friends that request this stuff. One of my good friends just passed away. Rest in peace, Jackie Jack. You know, he ended up getting cancer, but before he died, he asked me to make him a pan of it. And that really made me feel good. So he said he enjoyed it and his family enjoyed it. And that was one of the last times I spoke to him before he passed. But this is some really good stuff, guys. I'm telling you, when you mix these ingredients together the right way, I'm telling you, you're going to have something that's really good. So basically the way that the recipe is going to work is, I'm going to just kind of explain it to you first and then cut it up and show you how I do it. You can see here, I've got a blender here. The Ninja is what I use, but whatever you got at home is fine. You're going to pulse, you're going to cut the cabbage up and then pulse it to get it down to those thinner pieces. I don't like mine, those thicker pieces. I like mine as thin as I can just about get it. So basically what you have as far as the ingredients goes is 1 head of cabbage. I got some premium, they call it matchsticks, carrot pieces, which, you could get a whole carrot. That'll be the same. It's going to all get chopped up when it gets blended up in there. Mayo, I got a sweet onion. In the original recipe, it called for minced onions, but I tell you, it tastes so much better with a fresh onion, especially a sweet onion. That's what that is. That's a little baby Vidalia sweet onion. We got buttermilk, apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, kosher salt, fresh pepper. We got sugar. That's what's in this container here. And we got whole milk as well. So, excuse me, guys, it's still draining here. I apologize for that. But you'll see the first thing I always like to do is peel the cabbage back, get those first hard leaves off the top, and then cut it up into pieces that I can put into the Ninja to kind of chop it up for me to get it as fine as I want. I'll take that and transfer it to a pan. Once I get that, and the onion, it's really probably about a quarter of the onion or less, just depending on if you like onion flavor. If you don't, you use less. Just, obvious common sense, just use a little bit less. But I can tell you the onion is really, in my opinion, what makes this, makes it pop. That gives that different taste. When I took that and started using that instead of the minced onion, a world of difference, guys, world of difference. So I'm gonna start cutting this thing up, this cabbage up, and start prepping all the other ingredients. And then we'll mix everything together. I'll show you what it's like, and we'll get it mixed, and then you'll see what it looks like at the end. So I'll come back to you once I get get this thing chopped up and start getting some of the ingredients going. All right, guys, just wanted to cut in real quick. Still getting everything together, but I just wanted to show you the consistency of what we're looking like. You can see right here, this is just putting it in the, in the Ninja. and just putting it on pulse. That's all I did. And I got it chopped up just the way I wanted. I've already done about half of the cabbage already. So you see here, that's all I did is put it on pulse and just keep hitting it. Now you don't want to go too far because it'll start to emulsify it and start, drawing too much of the juices and the water out of it. And that's going to happen naturally when you start mixing it. So don't worry about that. I just want you to get a good look. This is about what we're looking at, that consistency. Now, and again, this is your coleslaw. Excuse me. You do it the way that you like it. I like mine thin like this. This is how the traditional KFC version of it was. It was a thinner slaw like this. And that's the consistency that I'm going to keep. Now, you pulse it to how you like it. And you'll see that the results are going to be kind of the same because of the ingredients that you're going to mix into it. But if you really want that true, authentic KFC kind of flavor, this is what you need to go for. All right, so we're going to finish up with this, guys. I'm going to finish shredding all this stuff up, getting all the other ingredients together in it. And then we're going to mix everything together and show you how that looks. Mix it all together, and then you'll see when the magic comes together. Be right back at you. All right, guys, so we got all of the cabbage chopped up here. And remember, when you do your cabbage, you want to go ahead and add in the onion as well as the carrots. Okay, so you want to get all of those things incorporated and chop that up when you do, your pulsing for your cabbage. Or if you're going to cut it up, again, just cut, how much onion you want to put in it. It's totally up to you. Again, the fresh onion makes all the difference to me in it. But you got to remember, whichever way you do it, you still are going to have to mix this in really good to make sure that your first bite is not a mouthful of onion or a mouthful of carrot. So I always mix mine in really well before I start with the mixture. And I've already got the liquid mixture done here. It's very smooth, ready to go inside. It is really, really good. I've already taken a little taste of it to make sure it's good. As far as the sauce goes, guys, you want to make sure that, sugar is in it. You usually put the sugar in at the bottom. Make sure it's well incorporated, that you don't have any clumps of any of that in it. And everything else should mix in fairly smooth. Once we get the cabbage mixture mixed in, mixed up all together, so we can make sure that it's enough carrot distributed it throughout it and onion, then we're just going to pour the mixture in and then just start mixing it all together. And once you get done, I'll show you what the finished product should look like. Mine looks a little soupy, not really soupy, but mine looks really wet usually when I get done. So I put the regular ingredients in the caption. You may want to go up, maybe if it calls for a quarter of something, you may want to go up to a half. That's what I always do. And that's how mine gets to the consistency like I like it. And again, if you like yours a little bit more dry, that's fine too. It's how you and your family like it. Then just make it like it is in the directions and you should be fine. You may just have to wait a little bit. I would suggest that if you make it exactly like the recipe is in the description, you're probably gonna have to let it sit longer to let the cabbage sweat out some of the juices to get it a little bit more creamier. But if you make it by just adding a little bit more of the ingredients that's listed, I'm telling you, you can't go wrong. So I'm gonna mix this up real good, pour the dressing on top of it, and then I'll come back and let you see what it looks like here to finish up. But the only thing we have left is the beef ribs, which are still out on the smoker. And there you have it, folks. This is what the finished product should look like. You see mine's a little wet. That's kind of how I like mine, but perfect. So I'm gonna put this up in the refrigerator, let it sit up. Really, it's ready to eat right now. Most people, again, if you like the drier one, you're definitely gonna have to let it sit for a good, they recommend 24 hours, so you have to make it a day ahead. If you just use the regular ingredients that are in it to give the cabbage time to sweat out and for all the stuff to incorporate. When you make it the way that I make it, just by adding, again, just a little bit more of the ingredients, maybe a quarter, it calls for a quarter, use a half. Using those ingredients that way, then in a couple of hours, you're ready to eat it or less. Really right now, this is ready to dig into, guys, and this is delicious. I'm telling you, it's creamy. It's got all the attributes, everything that you like in a coleslaw. If you like yours wet, this is how I like mine. And I'm telling you, I can't wait until this stuff gets done so I can plate it all up and be able to dig into it. So Coleslaw is done. Only thing we're waiting on now, guys, for those beef ribs to get ready, and they are coming along very well. I did go ahead and I pulled the wings, I wrapped it, and they're still inside that aluminum pan, but they are wrapped to let them finish off. Get them around 205 or so. Then we're gonna pull them, let them rest, and then slice into them and see what we got. But the coleslaw is done. I can't remember the person who asked for the recipe, but here it is. Thank you so much for asking. And if there's anything else that you guys would like to know what I do, certainly just comment below. Thanks. All right, guys, and here is the final product. So the wings came out really well. The beef ribs, got them sliced open here. We didn't get as much of a smoke ring as I like, but we still got one, so those turned out well. As well as the coleslaw. And again, the recipe for the coleslaw will be in the description. So all three, nice and done. So only thing left to do now is to eat a little something. So really want to thank you guys for subscribing and checking me out. Remember to like and subscribe if you have not already. We'll put some stills up as well for some the final shots. And the barbecue cop is out. Thank you guys.